Cam wants to continue doing Cam things, but he wants kids.
Right.
And he's basically saying, you know what? I have the resources to be able to support all these kids, but I'm going to continue doing Cam. Because that's all that this is about.
Pick one of them and keep having babies with the same one at least, or something.
But he's no longer doing Cam things. Then,
yeah,
Char.
you are. Because they're not together. It's just when I want to have a baby, you're the only one. Like that, we're not just keep spreading it out. Like,
but he wants
different.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like you can still do your thing, or we have this understanding. I'm sure she would be fine to keep collecting each child. You're getting more money for. I'm just like,
that's not going to satiate his thirst for new women.
He can still have all the new women, but just don't be having babies with all the different women. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm like, we shouldn't create it together. But why?
That's another thing, because if you're looking into it, I wonder if like after they get to like baby number 8, 9 or whatever, I wonder if baby mama or baby number 1 or 2 would be willing to like continue reproducing.
Oh,
because I doubt it. I think over time, because to go at what you're saying, I personally think over time they wake up.
There's some level of resentment.
It's like a level of resentment after a while.
On the Nick Cannon tree, there are a few of them that it's been like had the baby, had baby with somebody else, bounced back, had a baby again with her. There's one or two of them that have.
Well, they tested that. They tested that regular lifestyle out. They're like,
can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. Won't do it.
That's crazy.
Hey. Dreaming how dreamers do, most of my life feel like deja vu. Even when the pressure's on, I'm careful how I make my moves. Mamba mentality, I ain't come here to play to lose. Why would I play with you? But if you made me choose, I'ma go with me, you down to go with me. Of course it won't be perfect, it'll feel complete to say the least.
Hey guys, what's up? We are back. My name is Char. This is my guy T.O. and my guy Mike.
It's All Things Considered, the podcast.
Like, comment, subscribe, holla at us. Let us know where you're from. We up. What up?
Yes. Okay. Did y'all miss us? I know y'all missed us. Y'all have been waiting on us to drop some more gems, and we are back. The summer just got a little crazy. And our guy Mike, we got to give a little clap. He finally went on a honeymoon.
Yeah,
he went on world tour.
Yeah, for real.
Came back inky with it too. He looked like you ever seen them 2K players when they got the bare arms and the bare legs. My man's got the VC and got tatted up everywhere. Look good, man. You look good.
Hey, it was good, man. It was well deserved. We was patient. Our daughter was a newborn when we got married, so we chose to delay it. And then we kind of mapped out and planned it right. So we did it good. We was in Bali and in Doha for a couple days. Sheesh. So it was fun.
Welcome back, brother.
Appreciate it.
I need y'all to plan my next vacation because y'all mapped that out so well. I was impressed.
Appreciate it.
Yes. What's been going on with you?
Man, business is business. We just got done closing in on a multi-million-dollar deal with a couple business partners of mine.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Can we give him my boy?
Hey, I appreciate it.
Congratulations, brother.
Work is going good. Trying to fight to stay at the top of the list in sales. So it's been good. I hit quota already. So it's bonus season. Everything is kind of play money at this point.
Yes.
So everything's been smooth on my end, for real.
Play money. Oh, okay, so he's taking us all out for drinks
and
after.
It's on his tab.
Yes.
Hey, can I get 6 Casamigos, 5 Hennessy's? Put it on his tab.
Man, he got us.
I can't even remember when we had the last episode, but baby girl is here, 2 months, healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Congratulations, brother.
Life is good, man. I can't complain.
I love it. Okay. Speaking of, let's just jump right into it.
Wait, no jump right in. What about you, Char?
Oh, guys.
What have you been up to? Talk to us.
I have a 9-year-old now. My daughter turned 9 at the end of July.
Her birthday party was lit. Look, they had a party bus, and this was 9 of the century.
We did. So we did an Olympics theme this year. We had to, because it was July Olympics. She swears she's going to go to the Olympics in track, and I'm all for it.
There we go.
So it was really fun. We're big on theme birthdays. I was telling y'all, I was like, that's our thing. So we had that. And then my boyfriend, he has twin girls, and they turned 9 3 weeks later. So we had celebrate them, then which was August. My mom's birthday is in August. Like friends, like man, it's just been like celebrating life. Which
expensive month.
Exciting but expensive.
Yeah.
Like expensive, right? Children, let's all agree.
Baby girl better make sure them grades matching, huh? If the grades was matching.
Oh, yeah.
Them Olympic dreams.
I already know. We know Char don't play about that education now.
Yeah, but it's my mom that spoils her. Like every assignment she gets 100 on, they're going to Starbucks or she's giving her money. And I'm like, what? Yeah. We're not waiting for a whole report card? Like, how is every single grade? But all right. Yeah, the grandkids. So I love that we're talking about our kids, though. Because like I was saying, let's jump into this topic because this one is juicy. All right. So let's just start talking about it. I know a lot of y'all, and I know y'all did too, saw that interview with Cam Newton and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. It's definitely making waves on the internet. It definitely has the people giving their opinions like left and right. I feel like that's one of those ones that if you drop in that honesty like that, you have opened the floodgates for people to like put their opinion in on it. So I want to know how y'all feel about it because y'all are men, right? And y'all are married men. You have one household. You know what it takes to maintain one household. Like, how do y'all feel about hearing a man say that he's okay with like creating multiple households, like kids in different households?
Yeah. Well, man, that was a great interview, by the way. You know, number one, specifically the one with Cam Newton.
I enjoyed it.
I watched the one with Nick Cannon as well, but I really enjoyed the one with Cam Newton. I really thought that Dr. Bryant not only was able to eloquently articulate herself, but she also kind of gave him a sort of a counseling session, essentially, if you ask me. And I think, my view about it is basically, I just disagree where Cam is at with it. I think every responsible, most of us responsible guys would disagree with it because, contrary to popular belief, raising a kid isn't just all about money. How many times do we see high profile celebrities or, business guys, one to come, that comes to mind is, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, I just watched his documentary, his show where, he was creating Amazon and, he wasn't there for his daughter, and their relationship was very, very rocky, and she has her own viewpoint of how he was as a father. So having money does not make you a father. I think what makes you a father is the ability to, be present and, provide that fatherhood, the guidance, the leadership, that your kids needs. And most importantly is being selfless, doing things for your kids that does not always directly benefit you. You know how many times I want to do stuff for myself that I can't, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a little one at home. So I think, when I'm watching Cam, it seems like he's still a little bit immature in that area. He's still bent on, I'm doing what benefits Cam the most in these situations, because there's no way that you would want to sign up, to sign up your kid into what Dr. Bryant was saying to be is a broken home. And I completely agree with her term on that, because everyone knows that a kid that's growing up in a 2-parent household is going to be tough no matter what. That kid there's times when us boys as well, I hear all the time where it's just like, oh, nurture, that comes primarily for the girls. That's BS. Okay. Us boys, how many times do we need our mom in a lot of situations?
Absolutely.
Dad ain't there emotionally. Most of the time. We're not there. My dad, most of us, especially in a Nigerian household, especially in black households, we can say, Dad isn't there emotionally as much as mom is. And then when it comes to, how to be a man and, the physical aspect of it and the leadership and guidance on, being a man or growing up to become a man, that's where dad comes into play. So you really need a blend of both, you know. And me personally, I just think it's it was just a bit immature in where he at. What about you, Toby?
Yeah, I mean, I think the lack of maturity is the main thing that you said, and I completely agree with that. In these situations, I always advocate for the kids because they're the ones who don't have a choice in this. They're the ones who don't have a voice in this a lot of times, and they're just left to deal with the circumstances that were given to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we all have seen statistics and things things like that where we want to get them in the best position just to thrive in life, not just survive. You get what I'm saying? Right. And that's a lot of times what ends up happening in these situations where kids are in these broken homes where you've got your success stories and things like that. But for the most part, we see the statistics of the kids who grew up in a single parent household or the kids who end up in jail or juvenile because lacking that disciplined figure in the household. Even, for some of the girls that are unfortunately, whether it's sexually assaulted or things of that nature, a lot of times they're missing something in their upbringing from one of the parents, and those numbers rise as you don't have them in what's considered societal norms of their situation. Now, granted, I think out of love, that can conquer anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think in certain situations where these homes are broken or blended, there is a way to get through that with love, but we want to put them in that best position because they cannot choose this for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So, as you know, I am a broken home. My daughter, I'm not with my little girl's dad. And I would never purposely do that. Like on the kids front, like we said, like I just disagree with it. And I think it's selfish, like you said, because I only have one, right? I only have to deal with one other household, one child. And that takes a lot to try to make it as normal as possible for her, right? Like we do everything we can to get along. Essentially, you are family, no matter you're not together, you're family for the rest of your life. And you have to look out for each other and have each other's backs, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just feel like giving that energy just to one is a lot.
Yeah.
To be able for our kid to try to thrive in life and not be super affected by the fact that her parents aren't together. To try to do that with multiple, I just can't see how someone can effectively do that. And the person that's going to hurt the most is the child.
Always.
So I know we're talking about, Cam and the man's decision to do this. I also feel like we have to hold women accountable, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're allowing this. This man has women with several other children, and you still decide to have a baby with him as well.
Right.
And it's like, why? Like, given your male perspective, why do you think a woman?
We know why.
Oh yeah.
We 1000% know why. I mean, there's no history of a man. We keep saying Cam Newton, Nick Cannon, but there's a lot of people who fit that archetype.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We know exactly what the history of them looks like. And for women to have women's intuition, which is supposed to lead them to positive decision making, I will never for the life of me understand how you watch someone's track record and decide I'm next. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's never made sense to me how they can choose these things. But a lot of times I feel like these women will choose lifestyle and financial gain over what this man's character is, his moral standing. And it leads to poor decision making. I mean, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So I do think at some point, Cam Newton, while he's reckless and irresponsible, or whoever that man is, that is one irresponsible and reckless man, as opposed to all of the women who choose to join him in that circle. And I think at some point there's got to be a finger pointing back at them and saying, like, where do I, holding themselves accountable and seeing where did they, what they made in this decision they made in this part.
See, while I agree with what you're saying, I think I have a different viewpoint on it because I don't think there's a way to escape that. It's the same thing as if you go into third world countries, and you have women that, they are low value women. They may be beautiful. They may, appear to be, have everything, going in terms of physical, but, from a value standpoint, they're low value. And, to be honest, when you look at the women that these people are doing this with, these are low value women, and that's why they're choosing to do that. So, from a woman's standpoint, I really don't think there is a way to escape being able to manipulate low value women. It's always going to be there. If you have a super high value man or a man that has, you know, unlimited amount of resources like, you know, a Cam or a Nick, they're always going to have access to beautiful, low value women. And those women are going to continue to sign up understanding that, you know, if I go this route, my lifestyle will be changed, the way my everyday life will be changed, you know, because they are taking care of these women.
Yeah.
You know, so I think those responsibilities relies on the man. I think from a leadership standpoint, from a, you know, putting yourself second in these situations and putting the kid first, you have to look at, you know, those types of guys and understand, like, you know, dude, what you're doing, that is a way that you're manipulating and you're preying on these women because of their circumstances.
Yeah. And to me, I'm like, dude, you have made it, right? Like, you've made money, you've worked hard. Like, a lot of athletes, right? You had God-given talent, but you also had to work hard and sacrifice a lot to get there. Why do you want to give your money away to someone of low value? Why do you want to have a baby with somebody that you know they're just trying to, like, make a come up? And just as God gave it to you, he can take it away very quickly. And if they take it away from you, this is not a person that's going to have your back while you're down. This is going to be a person that's still going to have their hand out and be like, no, I need mine. And I'm like, are they not thinking about these things? Also, another thing I think of is, like, we all want generational wealth, right? We want wealth, like, we want to be able to, our kids to be, like, taken care of. And you've kind of made it in that way, but you're messing with that by giving your money to all of these different households, you know?
I agree.
I don't understand the mentality of it.
It's just one of those situations where it's like, these people have not matured enough in the stance of being able to be disciplined. Because all it is discipline. What's going on is, everyone knows that, you know, when you get married, you know, typically marriage comes with kids, right? And this whole new world, you know, especially in, you know, in our community, there's this new thing of where, you know, people aren't willing to go. They want to keep their same lifestyle. They want to keep. Cam wants to continue doing Cam things, but he wants kids.
Right.
And he's basically saying, you know what? I have the resources to be able to support all these kids, but I'm going to continue doing Cam. Because that's all that this is about.
Pick one of them and keep having babies with the same one at least, or something.
But he's no longer doing Cam things. Then,
you are. They're not together. It's just when I want to have a baby, you're the only one. Like, that we're not just keep spreading it out. Like,
but he wants
different.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like, you can still do your thing, or we have this understanding. I'm sure she would be fine to keep collecting each child. You're getting more money for. I'm just like, that's
not going to satiate his thirst for new women.
He can still have all the new women, but just don't be having babies with all the different women. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm like, we shouldn't create it together. But why?
That's another thing, because if you're looking into it, I wonder if like after they get to like baby mama number, like baby number 8, 9 or whatever, I wonder if baby mama or baby number 1 or 2 would be willing to like continue reproducing.
Oh,
because I doubt it. I think over time, because, you know, to go at what you're saying, I personally think over time they wake up.
There's obviously like some level of resentment.
It's like a level of resentment after a while.
On the Nick Cannon tree, there are a few of them that it's been like, had baby with somebody else, bounced back, had a baby again with her. There's one or two of them that have.
Well, they tested that. They tested their regular lifestyle out. They're like,
can't do it.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. More power to you. I just don't. And the interesting thing with Cam, though, I'm like, his parents are married. He has
both.
Yes.
I was talking to somebody about that, because a lot of times we think of, I'll say it's not 100%, you know, you come from a 2-parent household, you're going to turn out normal. Obviously, statistically, that's what it's going to do. But you also have to put some ownership on that person when they grow up to do the work. You know what I'm saying? And it's very clear and very obvious Cam has not done the work to take advantage of what his parents were, you know, showed him on a relationship level, how to function in a household. So that's on Cam, because his parents got him to college. You know, he had some dealings there and whatnot. Helped him get to the NFL. But when it comes to his maturity level in a relationship, that's on him for not doing that work.
Would you say, Tobin, while we're on in this realm right here, Cam in the NFL, right? He's had some success, he hasn't. Would you say that it was some inconsistency there? Would you say that his NFL career was a little bit rocky? Would you say that there was room for him to be a little bit mature and kind of apply himself more as a professional in the NFL?
I would say so. I mean, I think it started off hot, and he had a really high, and the lows came really quick, like quicker than you would have expected somebody of his caliber. And
he didn't respond well to those lows.
I agree.
And I think when you look at Cam's legacy, I think when you look at his life, the decisions that he's talking about now, you've always shown that. Because if you look at when you was at Florida and when you was in college, you've made dumb decisions, and your collegiate career was very inconsistent. You play at 3 different colleges in college, right? Then you get drafted to the NFL, you get another chance and things like that. You get some success, you get drafted to the NFL, you have early success, you're not able to sustain that success. And then your career starts going up and down. Then when you get hit in the face, you didn't respond well, you know, to that. When he went into the Patriots, he never responded well. And then now we're in another realm into his new life. And now, again, there's just inconsistencies, you know, throughout his life of just going up and down with him. And I think when you just look at who he is as a person, you know, not to attack him, but what I'm saying is, you know, Cam has not shown us that he's grown. Look at what happened when he was on the field with those kids fighting, arguing back and forth with little youth kids on the football field. You know, and even when that was happening, I'm like, man, you don't see other quarterbacks of his caliber. You don't see those quarterbacks hosting camps, the Peyton Mannings and all these other quarterbacks. You don't see them doing what Cam, and then all the people was like, oh, that's just Atlanta stuff. That's how we do. That's Cam. That's just him. And it's just like, no. What I'm seeing right now is there is a guy in a grown man's, body that is still have not fully grown up. He still has a lot of immature tendencies, in my opinion.
Somebody needs to interview his parents. If y'all want to come, we would love to have you. But I would be interested to hear their take on it and hear even just about his upbringing. You know, what part of not that they did anything wrong, but you learn as you go, right? We're never going to get it right. That's why it's usually different with kid 2 and kid 3, because you learn from the first one. So I wonder if they have they're we might have missed this part. If we could do it over, we would, but this is what happened. Were you too focused on the sports that we didn't talk about emotional maturity or grow in those ways, I'd be very interested for even him to talk about his upbringing.
It's
what
always
was important
crazy
in
with
your
those
household.
guys when they always say, when you hear Cam talk, he always talks about being the alpha guy. He always, I'm a guy's guy. I'm a guy's guy. I'm a man's man. I'm an alpha. I'm one of one. He always talks about that. But big dog, you're not showing that.
No,
you're not in how you're moving. In that Dr. Brian interview, you was the exact opposite of an alpha. If you really keeping it a buck, it was very beta-ish on that interview. You ain't letting the young lady talk. You attacking her. You trying to poke holes in her. Good God.
Now hold on. I gotta say, I don't necessarily think Dr. Bryant was completely, I won't say innocent, but there was.
We're not saying that.
Okay, good. Because there's definitely things about how she went about the interview I think could be perceived really poorly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have said that as well too.
Let's talk about it.
I've seen people say, for one, she's actually not a licensed therapist. She has education in it, but being licensed in it, and the way that she condoned that interview, which is not a therapy session.
Did she say that she was a licensed therapist?
No, but so a lot of times in the interview, she mentioned her education, how she has clients, this and the third, and I think people perceive it as her being a licensed therapist, and that's not necessarily the case. But the reason why I say that is because her response in a lot of things are not conducive to constructive conversations with a client who's clearly hurting and needs help in certain areas. I think a lot of ways that she responded to things could knock Cam down as opposed to bringing him up. That could be perceived in a couple different ways.
So give examples though. If you're saying that she knocked him down, because I didn't receive that in the interview. I don't know, Char, if you did, but I didn't receive that.
Even in just styles of communication, the first thing he asked her was, "Where are you from?" She talked for like 12 minutes. That's not going to be received well for a lot of men. So, like, in this conversation, a lot of people are like, "Man, she's beautiful, she's well spoken, all of these different things." I agree. In my head, I'm also saying, I see why she's single. I could definitely see why she's single.
Right, but wait a minute now, because now we're getting into a different that's a different category now.
Sure,
wait, because I think that I don't think that's fair, because if you're interviewing doctors, if you went and interviewed another doctor that was another race or a man doctor, and you asked the guy where he's from, do you know how many times, first of all, outside of doctors, do you know how many times I've watched interviews, even if we're keeping it in black, I've watched Drink Champ interviews where you ask one person one thing, and they're telling you their entire upbringing off of one question. Why is it that y'all attacking the lady when she does it? Why? I think it's interesting, because guys do it all the time. You ask an artist, "Hey man, you know, how did you get started, or where are you from, or these simple questions," and they will literally almost be talking for 15, 20 minutes.
You could see his response to when she finally finished it, that it wasn't received well. So it's not far-fetched to say that how her style of communication was. To him, it's like, man, I'm trying to get through this interview, and I asked a simple question, and she's like, I gave you a simple answer. In her head, she thinks what she said was a simple answer, so she's not even cognizant of how long-winded her response is. In that's a lack of self-awareness in certain areas. For her to say, I gave you a simple answer, that's not a simple answer. For you to talk for 12 minutes after somebody says, where are you from?
Okay, so this is, again, if you are bringing somebody onto your show, you're giving them your platform. It is their mode of how they would like to answer their questions. If he was doing research, he would have already seen that she's long-winded in a lot of things that she says. So therefore, when you're mapping out your questions, you need to be a little bit more specific. So if I know that if I'm asking you, hey, where you were from, right? Where are you from, Tobin, right? And I already know that you're from Dallas, I would probably change the way I ask the question. Hey, man, I know you're from Dallas. How long have you lived there? You know? Talk to me a little bit about your brief time when you were in Dallas for the 4 years that you were there, or for the 6 years that you lived. You know, now your sample size is a little smaller.
Sure.
So I just think that if you, as an interviewer, if you're doing your research and you know who's coming onto your show, you have to be able to form your interview based off of the person that you're bringing.
I agree.
Shannon Sharp does this extremely well.
Once it gets to the interview, that was the first question. The interview ain't even started yet. So I'm saying, like, I feel like that type of energy kind of create, I don't want to say tension, but kind of like set the expectation of where she was going with this. And I think a lot of call and response in that just wasn't perceived well by him. Again, I think he's got work to do. I think he's hurt in a lot of ways. So her tone was probably not the best for him to receive.
It was very irresponsible for you to ask somebody a question on your show and they give you a long-winded answer that a lot of people give when they're answering passionate topics. And like, it's very irresponsible for you to be sitting there and...
I don't think he was doing that.
Bro,
when she was talking?
She was literally... Yes, bro. His reactions while she was talking... He even was just like... While she was like, let's hit a space bar on, you know, like...
Yeah, after she was done.
Okay.
But we don't have to get on it.
Look, it's just like, look, if you bring in Michael Rakpo on your show, understand that, you know, you should know how I am.
Yeah.
So if I get on your show and I'm being me, don't bring me on the damn show. What you bringing me on there for? Do your research. If I'm bringing Tobin on my show and I know how Tobin is, I can't get mad when he comes here and he's Tobin. Yeah. That makes no damn sense.
Sure.
So it's just like, dude, if you only want your guests to be able to act a certain way, then bring those type of guests on your show. But if you're bringing these type of guests on your show, shut up, sit back, and look at and listen to what they have to say. And
he let her talk. It's not like he cut her off.
So what are we talking about?
It's not. I'm saying the way she was speaking, it could be seen as condescending. She was defensive in a lot of things that he was saying. he asked her certain questions she didn't even answer. He specifically asked her, like, so you as, you know, a 41-year-old woman, attractive, obviously well-spoken, well-mannered, you're single, no kids. Like, how did that happen? Her response was, that's not the question we should be asking. The question we should be asking is, how do we allow, and she went off completely different. She didn't even answer his question. So I'm saying,
so like, as an interviewer,
so I'm saying, I don't understand what's wrong. I feel like if a man was 41, single, and no kids, it wouldn't be a big deal. Like, I don't understand. Which is fine.
I'm just saying, she didn't even answer his question. That happened multiple times in the interview. It's like, if I'm the host and I'm asking you certain questions and you don't answer them, or when you do answer them, we go on a long tangent, it throws the flow off of the interview and completely changes the tension in the room. That's
okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then, because we're always athletes and we can go right over. If media does this all the time with head coaches, they also do it with players as well. The media will know that there's some type of tension or there was some bad play call or whatever, there's type gossip or whatever is going on, and the media would ask the player or the coach a particular answer. Is that player or is that coach, are they giving the exact answer to their question, or are they giving the answer that they would like to give to the question? Which one is it?
They're gonna skate out of it.
Okay. So do we jump down their throats when they do that?
People absolutely do. It'd be like, they didn't even answer the question, or it's giving coach talk. That's coach speak. Like, they're not being real.
Oh, come on, T.O.
You know they do. And you know they do.
Bro, players, athletes, and coaches are allowed to be able to answer questions how they see fit, and no one attacks them
and
for their answers.
And the media writes about it and literally says...
No, they do not. That's irresponsible
the media literally makes up their own conclusions of what they said because they didn't answer the question.
Yes, but they wouldn't write back. The head coach of such and such didn't answer the question when he was
they formed their own conclusion.
They're writing their response to the question that was answered. They're reporting,
and then they form their own conclusions from that.
But that's the difference. So that's actual media, right? What we're dealing with, and the people that you're talking about, and the people that you do give them a hard time are Twitter fingers or people like not actual media. Like those people.
Yeah, but we consider Cam at this point to be media. Yeah, and what you guys are saying
talking about is the people that we're talking about. She dodged these questions. She didn't. Who had a problem with that? Those are just people behind their keyboard.
No, but it's him
leaving
though.
a comment.
He's saying himself that he had a problem.
Absolutely, yes.
He's one of those people. He's not media.
We media.
And I'm saying people drawing their own conclusions from her not doing it, and it wasn't received well by some people. Obviously, I think the overwhelming majority of people liked how she went about it, but you do have those people who are speaking ill on her not answering questions, her being defensive, her being condescending in certain ways.
I think it's just, you're never going to satisfy
her lack of self-awareness
everybody.
in a lot of situations.
When you have a boss lady,
I think so too.
Like when it's up there, it challenges.
Yes.
Men aren't able to. I love that. I would love for her to come up here and interview.
Especially black women though.
Yes.
Like I feel like
they see it as a threat. And men, it's almost like it hurts their egos to see such a powerful woman.
Yes.
Because if there was a man up there that was answering those questions those ways, Cam wouldn't have got offensive. We wouldn't even be having this conversation right now.
Like y'all right here.
It wouldn't be
how
a
y'all
thing.
Can go back and forth and blah, blah, nobody's getting offended. I think it would have been that style.
Right.
Like he just would have been
like... Like me and Tobin does it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but when it's a woman doing it, it's, now I can see why she don't, this and that.
Yeah.
This and this. This and that. Now it's attacking her. It's attacking her. It's crazy.
I enjoyed it.
Crazy.
I enjoyed it.
It's a great interview.
Let's wrap it in though. We still have a few more things to cover. That was a good back and forth. I love that though. I loved talking about like just the interview itself and depicting that in different styles and but I do have this question though, because this is very interesting to me because I feel like both of these terms are used. And so I want to know like which one you consider. Like these homes that like Nick Cannon and Cam are creating, like a lot of people say, blended families, but is it to you blended family or a broken home?
Oh, yeah.
I would say, and it's kind of the thing I said earlier. I said when it's done in love and done with love, I absolutely could see why people consider a blended family. You kind of talked briefly about your situation, but you've mentioned how great of a relationship you guys have, how y'all have made things work, whether it's birthday parties or events and things of that nature. And I think things like that in love, it makes sense to be called a blended family. the unfortunate part about that is that's not usually the story that we get.
Yeah.
It's usually the baby mama drama, the baby daddy drama, and having issues and being spiteful of one another, doing things selfishly that take away from the kid. It's interesting in that interview, kind of listening to Cam talk to Dr. Bryant, and he's like, you don't get it. You don't get it.
Yeah.
All my kids live with me. Like, I take care of them. And I said, that's still broken.
Yeah.
Because the mothers aren't there. You just turned the situation around. You know what I'm saying? And now that nurturing.
I thought the same exact
And you know how it is when you have young
yeah.
kids, the women in the household are the nurturing figure for them.
Right.
So while you're thinking, all my kids live with me, I take care of them, this and the third, they're missing that nurturing that a mother can give that you simply cannot give.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're missing the idea of seeing you treat a woman with respect, seeing you take care of the queen of the household. They're missing seeing that stuff. So now it becomes their norm. And when they get older, you know what I'm saying, that's when those it starts to affect them really, as opposed to earlier in life.
I mean, they're seeing different women come in and get their kids and leave. Like, this
you
got
a
Brenda.
you got a different set of discipline and rules for certain sets of kids. It's like if one mother has her kid, like, oh, she can't eat that, she don't eat this, and the other mother's there and they cook this for the household, and now it's something that the kid don't eat. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's always issues like that. Yeah. Or even further down, it's like, what if one sibling is getting better treatment than another? And it's like, now you got sibling rivalries. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if this kid's mother got this kid a better birthday gift? They threw this kid a better birthday party. You got a better Christmas gift. And it starts to create resentment between siblings at that point. So these are things that people don't think about when we use the term broken household. It's more than just like the mother who's affected, the father who's affected, how it affects things financially. It creates rifts with the children, their siblings, and all of that.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you're using the word affected, and I think that's exactly what it is, my opinion. But I think blended families are the cause. I think that's the cause. It's just like, okay, this is a blended family, so that's the cause of, you know, whatever it is. And then I think broken homes is the effect. It's the effect. So it's the effect of blended families.
Yeah.
So when you look at later on, if something happens to where the kid grows up and he's not all the way developed, or they're having a lot of, things that they're suffering with or fighting against, or they was unsuccessful, or they never made it out, or whatever it is, one would look at their life and say, oh, they came from a broken home. And here is the effect of that. You feel me? Yeah. So I think it's not even one or the other. I think it's just a situation of where, if you're looking at statistics, statistics are showing that the more blended families that you have, the more, negative effects long terms that it will have. And that's because of the home being broken. You know, now there are obviously tons of success stories, and it shouldn't be, kids should try to break the mold and not be a product of their environment. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at the data does show that 2-parent households, being in a household with both parents gives you a better chance at life.
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I've talked to y'all about this, even with us having a good blended family situation, it's still super hard on my daughter. I've seen the tears when, she loves her dad, but she loves her mom and she don't want to leave me. She has to go there for a weekend. And also it's a completely different environment. Like, it's me and her at the house, or me, her, and my boyfriend, the three of us, majority of the time. And then she goes there and they have his wife's daughter, then a daughter they have together, then they just had a son. It's completely different, boom, shift like that. Yeah. And then she doesn't really get to see her dad as often. And then when she does see him, she has to share him. And it's just hard, no matter how, in these situations, how cordial you be, how much you do things together, the child is still always affected, in some way. And it just breaks my heart that people do this on purpose, because children, man, this stuff is it's like forming them, right?
Yeah, right.
Like their environment is forming them into the adult that they're going to be. As parents, I don't think we realize it. We know, but we don't know. But we have a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Like our actions, everything we do, these kids are watching. We're molding them into the humans that they're going to be. Obviously, as you said, like Cam, one of those. He got older and he's making his own decisions. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it's a huge impact. Right. And just creating these things on purpose. I don't care if his kids do live with him all the time. But then what does that look like that like you created like 8, 9, 10 human beings that like their mom isn't in the household with them?
I think the unfortunate thing about this is that like we talk about the effect that it has on kids. And I see it now as an adult. When you're a kid, everyone's like, oh, my stepmom this, my stepmom that. You don't really think about like what they were doing when this was like the origin of all of this. And I know this just from being, a guy. I'm a guy's guy. I have a lot of male friends. And
there's a guy's guy that goes the guy's guy term.
But the thing is, I'm saying without even knowing, I know which of my friends grew up with both their parents and which ones didn't, without asking.
Yeah,
I know in the way that they carry themselves. I know in the way that they deal with stress. Yeah, I know the way how they are emotionally. I know because a lot of times these men who grow up, especially like specifically with their mothers only, because that's typically what we see, especially in the Black community. Highly emotional, because that's what they saw their mothers do. How they deal with conflict is not the way that most men deal with conflict. And we just see it. And a lot of times these same boys turn into the men that women now say they don't want. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of women are like, I don't want a mama's boy or somebody who's stuck on their mama's titty or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, man, think about the origin of that. You know what I'm saying? Like why would you recreate that same thing? And that boy turns into a man who hasn't had that male figure in his life. Yep. And this is not the type of man that most women want leading them.
So how do we don't talk about this enough, but how do they break that? How do you do they lean on friends? Do they lean on like how do these men, right, who grew up with their mom because they're in a situation that they couldn't control either, right? Mm-hmm. So looking at the opposite side of it, how do you said you have friends like this, I do too, so it's like, how do these men get back to being, a man's man, like we was talking about earlier? Man, is this something where it's just inevitable? Like it's just, how can they fix their situation?
That's why I think it's so important to have positive male figures in your life. Yeah. For me, it was football. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Head coaches, literally, when you go to college, what do head coaches say? I'm literally going to be the closest thing to a father figure you have for the next 4 years. It's important to where you choose to go. Your high school head coach, whatever the case may be, uncles, all of those people who are willing to step up and help in that situation. Yeah. Not everybody has a support system like that, but I do think it's important to have something like that, even if it's just some sort of mentorship or anything of that nature. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing, I forgot what school it was in Dallas, but they had like a Father's Day or something like that where they called upon any men in the Metroplex to come and be a supportive male figure for these kids. And like thousands showed up, which I think is dope. But to be able to have some sort of positive male figure like that, truthfully is the only way to get through it. Otherwise, you're around the mother and maybe her friends and sisters and things like that, and there's no masculine energy in that space. Right.
I think also self-awareness, like when you get older, the first step to maybe conquering this or getting over this is like being aware that you are this way, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? But the first step is like being aware, and then you have to be able to be willing to lean into those relationships if you do have them, or go to therapy, things like that. I also think this is also when like how you choose like your partner, your spouse plays a big role in it. Like the woman you choose can play a big role into you growing out of that and helping you to see these things, not like attacking you for it or talk, you know what I'm saying? So I just think like self-awareness too. And then like the person that you choose to spend your life with as well.
I think a lot of people lack that awareness until they get in a relationship with somebody and they see where they're lacking. You know what I'm saying? Like they see the deficiencies and what they're expected to bring to the table and they don't got it. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's men or women. You see, a lot of girls who were raised to see a strong, independent mother, and now they're like, I've got this in my head. I don't need a man, and they bring that sort of masculine energy into a relationship with another masculine man and wonder why it doesn't work. Yeah, they're not aware that they're doing that until they get in front of a masculine man. And he calls it out. I was like, I don't know, you got this energy I'm not really
and then it's on them at that point to do something about it. At that point, it's that.
So anybody in the DFW area, if you have teenagers, older teens, young adults, like. To be honest, that 21, 22, 23, 24, those age range are very, very crucial. 19, 20, those are very crucial ages, in a young man's life as he's, finding himself. So if you guys have any information on an organization, group, or anything, please tap in with us. I am dedicating myself to be able to pour into these young men to be able to understand, what it is at life that we need. It's very important, especially ones that have not consistently had that male figure. Not every male have had football like we've had, to lean into. So definitely.
Yeah. And I think also, like you said, tapping in, a big part of it too is parents. Like you have to be aware. It is okay that you're a single mom and there may not be any male figures much to help your son. But there are programs, right? They have big brother, big sister, things all that. Like, it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But look for these resources for your kids because it's only going to help them. Nobody's judging you. It happens. It's life. But parents also, like, we can sit here and say, well, they're, they don't have any. I'm just with he has to be with girls all the time. He has to blah, blah, blah. No, there are resources out there to be able to help. So just take advantage of them. It can only help your child in the long run.
I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's cool to have a mentor, especially if your mentor is pushing P. You know what I'm saying? Like having a cool mentor is everything because it's just like you're not actually too corny. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing people that is actually walking the line, but are where you want to be or where you see yourself. A real, true, mentor or somebody to look up to. It's just like, man,
that's cool for kids.
Switch places with you.
A mentor, you know what I'm saying? A therapist,
anybody,
a good friend,
anybody in that
circle.
realm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's super cool for kids, like to have this almost like a big brother of sorts. Like they don't even think of it as a dad. It's just like a big brother they can like look up to and like, like you got we go and they give them experiences that like you may not have the time to or able to, it really is cool for the kids. Like I've seen situations like this. I even have my friend Ashley, she's in like the big brother, big sister, and she has a little boy who's like her little brother. And like, she just takes him to do, it's like a cool auntie. Like she takes him to do all these fun things. I think he has siblings and it's just like a super cool time that he gets to have for himself to go do these like cool things. And it's just, and even, I'm going to call upon people like you said, you'll volunteer. It's up to us too. We all should help make the world a better place. So if you have the time, like volunteer and
just be on here talking talk now. You got to put some action. About that action. You got to be about that action sometimes.
Okay. Well, it's time for us to kind of wrap this up. Y'all know we always end with a question. I'm going to ask T.O. and Mike first, and then we're going to ask y'all. But I'm curious, right? Because I feel like there's so many things that 10 years ago we would have thought this would never happen. We want to do a good example. 10 years ago, I would have never thought we had pronouns of they, them. Nothing wrong with them, but 10 years ago, I never would have thought that, right? So let's right now, let's open our minds, right, to this. Because right now we could be like, no, but let's just open. 10 years from now, do you feel like we're going to have more men that are openly and purposely creating kids with multiple women? And not even that. Like, did y'all see the Neo thing where he was like, he'll have as many girlfriends as he can afford? Even those type of relationships. Do you think we're going to see a lot more of those than traditional household values? Like, are we going to see a lot more? Is it almost going to outweigh or?
No, I don't know about outweighing, but it's going to be, it's increasing at a very high pace right now because these kids, these next generation, there is a big, strong disconnect. These gender wars are people are so consumed with social media now, and what's happening is these fairy tale ass gender wars that's happening online, it's getting into people's minds and brains to where they don't, people aren't pushing love as much as they used to. Yeah. Now it's like whatever's cool. And people are literally living and dying by what they see on social media. These rappers, these entertainers, these people that are only pushing. Y'all don't realize that behind the scenes, they really got what they're rapping about, and what you see isn't the same thing that they're portraying in their everyday life. Yep. Like half these guys got wives, got mains, got people that they checking in with all the time. But when they get on the records, they're not rapping and talking about these things. But these kids and these next generation, they don't know that. So it's going to take a group effort to be able to just kind of continue to get out there. It's going to take the cool older guys, the unks and everybody like that, the aunties, to get out there and just pour into the community as much as they can.
Oh, I'm hopeful. I think more conversations like this. I think the rise of people openly talking about like mental health and pushing therapy and things like that. I'm hopeful. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm absolutely hopeful that we get back to more of these traditional values and away from these things that have led our community astray. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where our community statistically was doing better in a lot of different ways, and I think through doing the work, whether it's through therapy or just creating a good network of friends, I think they can get back to that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm hopeful. I don't know, because
we're going to see.
We're going to see. People are just very open nowadays, and I don't know. But I'm hoping, like you said, the people talking about it. And therapy, like you said, that is so much more talked about than it was years ago. It's so much more, like before, I feel like it was like a shameful thing. And now it's people are like,
too.
Yeah, it's like some people don't even really have some like crazy thing that happened to them, but they just want to go talk to an unbiased opinion every week, So I hope that, because it does come from somewhere. Like you're not just this way most of the time to be this way. Something in you, you might not even remember, like has formed you to want this lifestyle or not be able to truly commit to one person. So I don't know. I'm interested. I am interested. 10 years from now, we're going to pull this and see.
It's going to be in the algorithm.
It's going to be on YouTube.
Yes.
All things considered, the podcast, baby. We here to stay.
We are here to stay. Okay. So audience, we want to hear from you. We always ask you the question. So as you heard, 10 years from now, do you think we're going to have more of these open type relationships, or traditional is going to uphold? And then within that, let us know how you feel. Like, are you on that train where you're like, I'm cool with it. I don't really need to be married. I can have multiple women. Yeah, or even women. If you like, I want to just have multiple men breaking this money off of me. Like, let us know how I feel. Or if you're like, no, traditional is the way to go. I want to find my one person. Like, we want to hear from you and let us know why you feel the way you feel. That's how the conversations really get going, and how you get people to just open up to different opinions, which is what we are about here at All Things Considered. All right. Well, it was so great to be back. So excited to be back with my guys and to be back with y'all. Again, I'm Char. This is T.O. and this is Mike.
We out.
Peace.
Hey. Dreaming how dreamers do, most of my life feel like deja vu. Even when the pressure's on, I'm careful how I make my moves. Mamba mentality, I ain't come here to play to lose. Why would I play with you? But if you made me choose,